Welcome to another Zelda Countdown. This time I will be looking at the dungeons. Zelda dungeons are the most important part in any Zelda game. They are there to progress the story and provide challenging puzzles, and they are probably going to be the thing that you are doing most of the time in each game. Each of them are similar in theory, but each of them are fun and challenging in their own unique way. I don't want to bore you with the explanation of what a dungeon in Zelda is all about, because I'm guessing that you, the viewer, have already played a Zelda game before, or else you wouldn't be watching this video. So let's begin. Number 5 is the Wind Temple from the Wind Waker. I can't explain this dungeon very well. Like I said in my top 5 3D Zelda games, most of the dungeons in this game were good, but not very memorable. There are only 2 of the dungeons in this game that I can remember well, and this is one of them. This is by far the most challenging dungeon in the game. Some of the parts, like the middle room with the giant cyclone, are quite cryptic, but rewarding and fun. Like the Earth Temple, you have to take in the sage of the dungeon, who helps solve some puzzles that can glide, weigh down switches, and can plant seeds for hookshot targets. Speaking of the hookshot, that is the item that you acquire in this dungeon. The way that it is put to use was very good, as well as the puzzles that included the iron boots and the hookshot, to pull out heavy rocks from the ground and the ceiling. To wrap up the dungeon, it provides one of the most fun bosses in the game, Mulgera. It may have looked ridiculous, but slashing around his tongue was so satisfying. Number 4 is the Deepwood Shrine from Minish Cap. Wow, I bet you didn't expect the first dungeon in the Minish Cap to be on here. I just recently finished the Minish Cap, and I must say it is probably one of my favorite 2D Zelda games. I had fun with all of the dungeons, but I honestly think that the Deepwood Shrine was the most clever and fun dungeon in the entire game. I know you aren't gonna agree, but it's my list. First of all, the puzzles about the spinning barrel actually left me stumped for a while. I had no idea how to clear out the cobwebs, so I just left it and beat the mini-boss and got the gust jar to clean up the webs. I hadn't played a 2D dungeon in about 2 years before this, and it caught me by surprise about how fun and interesting it was. I must say it is a very easy dungeon, but I still think that it is the most challenging first dungeons in any Zelda game besides Woodfall and Majora's Mask. I know this may not be the best dungeon in the game by theory, but I loved it. The worst part is the Green Choo Choo boss battle, which I thought was a lot worse and less intense than the mini-boss. Anyway, I enjoyed it. Number 3 is the Goron Mines from Twilight Princess. I have only a few things to say about this dungeon. I haven't played Twilight Princess in a year, and I forgot a ton about this dungeon. I know I could play through the game again to see what I could remember, but I honestly do not want to sit through the entire god-awful beginning just to play it again. I mostly remember the cooler parts like the magnetic puzzles with the iron boots, the amazing bow aiming, the awesome Goron sumo wrestling mini-boss, and how cool Link looks in the red tunic. I also enjoyed the boss fight. While it might have been extremely easy, I was still very satisfied. That is really all I have to say about this dungeon. Sorry. Number 2 is the Earth Temple from the Wind Waker. This temple just bleeds originality. I've never enjoyed hauling around a companion through a dungeon as much as this. The reason why this is so high on the list is because of how well Medley and the Mirror Shield work together. I was absolutely enthralled in this dungeon from the beginning till the end, and I still think this is what has the best individual puzzles in the entire series. The 2 that stand out the most were the last room puzzle, where you had 3 factors of reflecting light. There was Medley's harp, Link's mirror shield, and tons of draggable mirrors to use while reflecting light at the various statues and light walls. Another amazing puzzle was the multiple room puzzle that made you go into one room with Medley to reflect the light onto a mirror, and Link went into the other room to reflect the light from the mirror onto the statue. The entire dungeon was fun and interesting, but only one could possibly top it. Number 1 is the Forest Temple from Ocarina of Time. A lot of you guys probably expected this to be at number 1. This is the most highly praised dungeon in the series, and for good reason. The entire Forest Temple is perfect as soon as you walk through the door. Right when you get in, you are instantly attacked by werewolves. When you actually walk in, the music starts playing, and you get sort of a feel for the dungeon. It is a very creepy dungeon. The music is very scary, hearing the same type of chants from beginning till the end. This dungeon is absolutely perfect. The atmosphere is great, the enemies are a good step up from the first 3 dungeons, and the puzzles are fun and interesting. You get the bow in this dungeon, which is used for some of the best puzzles in the entire game, like the spinning hallway, and the puzzle where you shoot an arrow through a lamp to melt some ice. A lot of this dungeon is very creative, and the item and the boss battle are the best in the game. The entire dungeon is a perfect combination throughout the entire time, and I love it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you disagree with my choices, please leave your opinions in the comments